Mangwanani Malelepo Fukenjani Kleitwaswanawe Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry and Glenora Shipura. How are you, Glenn?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic.
Well, let's get right into what you can expect in today's broadcast. Libya deports 250 undocumented African Asian migrants. Cancer surging among under 50s worldwide. Rwanda police arrest suspected serial killer. We'll also be crossing over to Mike Sichula in Zambia, who will be filling us in on the news, making waves on the ground there. Do stay tuned for these stories.
eTicket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
Heading into our top stories, Libyan Interior Minister Imed Trabelsi announced on Wednesday that the North African country deported over 250 undocumented migrants from sub-Saharan African nations and Asia to their respective countries. Today, a group of individuals from various nationalities will be deported from this place, he said. This deportation involves people from Somalia, Niger, Chad, Sudan, Bangladesh and Nigeria, said Imed Trabelsi. Now, the North African neighbors on August 10 agreed to share responsibility for providing shelter for hundreds of migrants stranded at their border, ending a month-long crisis triggered by mass expulsions of migrants by Tunis. Some 2,000 migrants, primarily from sub-Saharan African countries, had been driven to the remote desert area of Ras Jdir by Tunisian authorities and left there to fend for themselves, according to witnesses, rights groups and UN agencies.
In our next story, cancer surging among under 50s worldwide. The number of people under 50 diagnosed with cancer has surged worldwide in the last 3 decades, but it is not fully clear why. A study said on Wednesday, cases of cancer among people aged 14 to 49 rose by nearly 80% from 1.82 million to 3.26 million between 1990 to 2019, according to the study published in the journal BMJ Oncology. While experts caution that some of that increase was explained by population growth, previous research has also indicated that cancer is becoming more commonly diagnosed among under 50s. The international team of researchers behind the new study pointed to poor diet, smoking, and alcohol as major risk factors underlying cancer in the age group. But the increasing trend of early onset cancer burden is still unclear, they added.
Now, Rwandan police have arrested a 34-year-old suspected serial killer who is alleged to have murdered and buried more than 10 bodies in his kitchen. The police found out about the murders after evicting the man from his rented house in Kikwiro district in a suburb of Rwanda's capital, Kigali. His landlord had asked him to do so as he had defaulted on rent for the last 7 months. A police official told Rwanda's private newspaper, The New Times, that when they went to evict him on Monday, he put up a fight. He apologized and cried excessively, which raised our suspicions. We detained him and I personally took him to the police. It is at the police station where he confessed to having killed some people, prompting Rwanda Investigation Bureau to investigate his residence, the official said. Police said that the man confessed to luring his victims from bars and then robbing, killing and burying them in a hole he had dug up in his kitchen.
Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina on Wednesday announced he will run for re-election in November. Rajoelina made the announcement at a grand ceremony held in the biggest stadium on the large Indian Ocean island, which is due to hold the presidential vote on November 9th. He first took power in 2009 on the back of a coup that ousted former President Marc Ravalomanana. After not contesting in the 2013 election due to international pressure, Rajoelina was voted back into power in 2018. Are you ready? I am. Decided, the 49-year-old leader declared in the country's capital. Sporting a white suit, he said he was ready to represent people throughout Madagascar and to be the president of all Malagasy people.
All right, now India was buzzing with speculation on Tuesday after rumored plans to scrap official usage of the country's English name after a state-issued invite sent to world leaders referred to it as Bharat. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government has worked to remove lingering symbols of British rule from India's urban landscape, political institutions and history books. But its next move could be the biggest such action yet. Modi himself typically refers to India as Bharat, a word dating back to ancient Hindu scriptures written in Sanskrit and one of two official names for the country under its constitution. Members of his Hindu nationalist ruling party have previously campaigned against using the country's better-known moniker India, which has its roots in Western antiquity and was imposed during the British conquest. Stay with us as we talk to Mike Situla after the break.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraika. In replay, Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
Now, police in Lusaka have charged former First Lady Esther Lungu in connection with theft of 3 motor vehicles. Here to bring us the story and more news from Zambia is Mike Suchula. Good morning, Mike.
Africa, good morning. Thank you very much, Grenola and Ashwin. Indeed, police in Lusaka did charge and detain former First Lady Esther Lungu. There she is in the picture. She was talking to her supporters before she left home for the police on Wednesday. So what happened is that in this matter, the former First Lady gave her 400 United States dollars for safekeeping. However, the niece passed on the money and gave it to another person and her daughter, after which it was discovered that there was a loss of this money. Mrs. Lungu pursued her niece money that she was given $400 for safekeeping. They later entered into an agreement with the former First Lady and decided to surrender the motor vehicles and other property from the same proceeds of 400 United States dollars. But there was a twist of turns where again the niece and the other person that she had engaged to keep the money turned around, reported before the police that their motor vehicles were grabbed from them by the former First Lady and people that were present during this discussion. So this is the matter that police are investigating because they suspect that the 400 United States dollars that Mrs. Lungu had might be proceeds of crime. So she was released from police custody late in the hours of Wednesday because her lawyers and including the former president, Mr. Edgar Lungu, did not want to go back home because he wanted to live with his wife when going home. So luckily she was released, then she's expected now to appear in court.
You know, Mike, I remember a time when we were talking about some upmarket flats that she owned. So excuse me if I find it a little hard to believe that just 400 US dollars, which is around 5,000 Rand, would cause all this ruckus. Yeah, like you, I'm a little curious. Now, authorities have arrested 6 members of an organized criminal gang believed to be responsible for circulating counterfeit United States dollars, certainly none that the former First Lady had given to Anissa, I assume.
Yes, this is yet another case that authorities, the Drug Enforcement Commission has been pursuing. Earlier in the year, I did report that the Drug Enforcement Commission had warned members of the public against trading in dollars on the black market, because they did report to the nation that they had information suggesting that there was over 2 million counterfeit dollars on the market. So on the Copperbelt province, they did manage to arrest 6 people. One of them is a police officer. Then the other one is a local magistrate court. Then another person is a farmer. Then 2 of those are drivers. So they have been picked with those counterfeit dollars that we are showing ours on the screen there. So this, according to them, is that it is an organized criminal gang that is importing these foreign counterfeit dollars on the local market, because they suspect that they are trying to clean it up using during this period when farmers in Zambia are selling their maize to government and private buyers. So it is something that the authorities are still pursuing, because they believe that what they have discovered on the Copperbelt is just a tip of the iceberg, because there are more counterfeit dollars on the market, and they are warning members of the public, including tourists coming into Zambia, to desist from trading on on the black market if they want to get genuine dollars.
Well, do keep us posted on any further developments in that story. Now moving on a rather sad note, the police in Lusaka have launched investigations into the death of 2 university students who were found dead in a hostel. Can you get into this, please?
Yes, according to police investigations, they are saying that that is one of the students who was found dead. According to them, they are saying it is a case of murder and committing suicide at the same point. So that is also one of the latest. So preliminary reports indicate that the 2 were in a relationship despite being students at the same school. So on a particular day, the lady who did go to the hostel of her boyfriend, and she did suspect that he was having an affair with another student at the same university. So when she went to his hostel, they did meet, and they discussed a number of things, because according to CCTV footage, they said that the lady went in the hostel. Then when the lady went into the hostel, the guy came out at some point. Then he later came back, and during that period, they never came out. They just heard some screams coming from the hostel. Then when people went to check what was happening, they forced themselves through the door, and they discovered that the 2 were actually sleeping side by side in unconscious state. It is at that point that they took them to the hospital, where they discovered that the lady had stretch marks on her neck, something that could show that she was being strangled. Then the guy was vomiting white stuff, something that authorities are suspecting that he could have drank a poisonous substance to take his life. Unfortunately, both of them have died, and police have instituted investigation to establish whether there was a case of murder then committing suicide at the end of the day.
A truly, truly sad story. Now, in sports, Chipolopolo boys will be taking on Comoros. Tell us about that, Mike.
This is a dead rubber match for the Chipolopolo, because the team has already qualified, but they are going to Comoros today. Actually, they'll start off tomorrow, because the coach Avram Grant wants the team to end on a winning note. So they are taking this match seriously, despite having already booked a ticket for the next Africa Cup of Nations to be held in Ivory Coast. So a number of players have been summoned, including 2012 gold winning captain Stopiran Suzu. They have also summoned Paston Daka and Lamek Sakala, Lamek Banda, who plays in the Italian league. Kingsley Kangwa there, you can see in the picture. So it is a full team that Coach Avram Grant has assembled because he wants to end on a winning note because he's got his own target of doing better at the next Africa Cup of Nations, having missed 3 Africa Cup of Nations in the past. So it is something that even soccer fans are expecting to see a positive outcome when Zambia plays Comoros away tomorrow.
All right, certainly looking forward to that clash. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the news stories from the real Africa, Zambia.
Thank you very much. Africa, good morning. Do have a sports and lovely weekend.
Let's now take a look at the weather predictions for Southern Africa.
We start off our economic news with the Danish economy. Massive demand for diabetes and weight loss drugs made by Danish pharmaceutical group Novo Nordisk have turned it into Europe's most valuable company, giving Denmark's economy a major makeover. If it wasn't for Novo Nordisk, there wouldn't have been any growth in the first 6 months of the year. Now, Danske Bank chief economist Lars Olsen told this to AFP. The company's earnings have ballooned thanks to in-demand prescription medications for type 2 diabetes. The drug is Ozempic, made famous by US celebrities for its weight loss side effects, and obesity drug Wegovy. Now, in the first half of 2023, Denmark's economy grew by 1.7% year-on-year. Official data showed, excluding the pharma industry, it shrank by 0.3%. We've never seen anything like it. It is changing the picture of the economy, said Statistics Denmark analyst Jonas Peterson.
Now, in our next story, climate activists fight Africa's carbon credit sale. Climate activists have opposed Africa's plan to sell carbon credits to foreign countries. Several foreign companies and countries have committed hundreds of millions in carbon credit purchases from the Africa Carbon Markets Initiative, including the United Arab Emirates, which pledged to buy $450 million in carbon credits. However, climate groups like Greenpeace Africa and Friends of the Earth Africa say that buying carbon credits from Africa is a false solution to climate change and will only accelerate pollution by helping polluters to offset their emissions. Investing in carbon markets is a false solution. The real green investment lies in renewable energy, Greenpeace Africa said on X.
All right, let's head into the indicators and we'll be back with the sport. Let's quickly dive into the sports stories, starting with the Ballon d'Or. Argentina forward Lionel Messi was among the nominees of the men's Ballon d'Or trophy announced by organizers France Football magazine on Wednesday. Now, 7-time winner Messi, who plays for Inter Miami, led Argentina to World Cup glory in Qatar in December, their first triumph since 1986. Portugal's Cristiano Ronaldo, who has won the award 5 times, did not receive a nomination for the first time. And Manchester City striker Erling Haaland, who won the UEFA award for Best Men's Player last season, as well as Paris Saint-Germain forward Kylian Mbappe, are also on the shortlist.
Now, Mexico City Marathon disqualifies 11,000 runners for cheating. 11,000 runners in the Mexico City Marathon were disqualified for cheating, according to a report in Spanish newspaper Marca. Organizers of the August 27 race launched an investigation after receiving complaints that runners had used cars, bikes, and public transportation to cut sections off the course, Marca reported.
Now, spilling over to tennis, world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz vanquished Alexander Zverev 6-3, 6-2, 6-4 on Wednesday to complete an All-Star US Open men's semi-final lineup that features 3 Flushing Meadows champions and a big-hitting American wildcard.
Now, Italy have brought in English-born lock Dino Lamb and prop Dinello Fisciati to their starting XV for the Rugby World Cup Pool A clash against Namibia and St. Etienne on Saturday. Their only changes from their final warm-up win over Japan last month.
Those have been our sports stories. We'll be back with the highlights after the break.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouth-watering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
Let's get into the highlights from this morning's broadcast. Libya deports 250 undocumented African and Asian migrants. Cancer surging among under 50s worldwide. Rwandan police arrest suspected serial killer.
And with that, we've come to the end of our broadcast. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Friday morning. From me, Glenora Shipura.
And from me, Ashwin Berry. Until next week, Swera Jakanaka.